Unfiltered. Ricky Bo, Bill Colarulo.
Philadelphia Sports Talk. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
A little after 4 o'clock here on Unfiltered. Got into a lot the first 2 hours of the show, talking Sixers and Flyers. We will get back to those conversations coming up shortly. So if you want to weigh in on what you want the Sixers to do, we started higher level. Should they fire Daryl Morey? I think that's a no-brainer. Everybody wants to see them go in a different direction there. But then if you do that, the big question, what happens with Nick Nurse? And then what happens with the personnel? Are you trading Joel? Are you trading Paul George? People are even suggesting listening to trade offers on Tyrese Maxey. So I would love to hear from Sixers fans today. Send your texts and your voice memos to the Davis Honda text line, 610-632-0975, on what you would do with regard to Nick Nurse and the personnel on this Sixers team. We'll get back to that conversation. We're going to do a little Eagles coming up this segment as well, because we know who their opponents are. We'll find out when they play them on Thursday. But I want to talk about Eagles' strength of schedule, because I think it's a good sign for the Philadelphia Eagles in 2026. But before we do that, like we do every day at 4 o'clock, hit it, Sil.
Now give me more at 4 with Silvana.
Because you can never get enough.
All right, so we're actually not deviating too far away from the show, because our first clip, actually, we finally found out what Rod Brind'Amour had said to Rick Tocchet following the Hurricanes sweeping the Flyers on the home ice. Everyone could see the conversation, and everyone was dying to know what was said. We get to hear from what he's saying to players like Zegras and Martone as well a little bit before, but here is the clip.
Hey, great player, man. Good luck to you going forward. Hey, good job, man.
Yeah, thank you.
You represent well.
Yeah.
Good job, man. Good job.
Yeah,
good job. Good job, man. Good job. Good job. Way to work. Great job, man. Way to battle. Hey, Talk. Good job, man. Hey, good job. Way to bring these guys back, man.
You got it, man.
Take a minute.
You got it.
All right, we're good, Track. Good job, Todd. Good job. Great series. Good job, boys. Good job, man. Good job.
Oh, it makes me feel so emotional.
He did lie about the great series.
Well, I think it was
played
tight.
him hard.
It looked tighter than it wound up.
I don't think so.
They
I
played
think
them
that
hard.
team, the Flyers
They played
played
hard,
as
but-
hard as they possibly could and just couldn't get over a hump against that team.
But the best
agree.
part of that clip, and if you couldn't hear it, Brind'Amour, and if you saw the video on the handshakes, Brind'Amour points up to Tocchet, and we didn't know what he said. What now you could hear, he says, way to bring these guys back, man. And he's talking about the fans. Because Brind'Amour has talked about it before. I mean, he's a Flyer. He loved being in Philadelphia. He understood how good the Flyers fan base was when they were actually relevant. And they lost that for a while. The Flyers franchise had lost that for a while. And this season, and Rick Tocchet, big part of the reason why, they brought hockey back to the city of Philadelphia. And you hear it. I mean, that gave me goosebumps a little bit. Because you hear the crowd chanting, let's go Flyers, let's go Flyers. And Rob Brind'Amour, former Flyer, to another former Flyer, and Rick Tocchet saying, way to bring these guys back. It's awesome, man.
That is pretty cool. I mean, you know what? It's noticed. And obviously, being a former Flyer, he noticed it big time. And he noticed what this fan base can be and has become again. And that's let's face it, nuts.
It was awesome.
It's just nuts.
I don't have my soundboard was down, or I was going to hit Danny Briere saying, let's hit the horn.
No, you can hear it. You can hit it.
No, it's my screen's black.
Oh, no.
So I'm not doing a good enough job.
I just randomly am hitting. It still works, but I can't see it. Oh, let's see if my memory is good. So for those who can't see, this is all black. Let's see if I can remember where it is on the screen.
Okay.
So I'm not doing a good enough job.
You got to do it.
close.
Funny how? I mean, funny.
I can't do
You
it.
just hit. So you hit the one above.
Oh, there it was. Let's hit the horn.
Let's hit the horn.
There you go.
Ricky did it. Ricky.
I mean, Bill, you did the top one and the bottom one.
I know where it is. I just can't see it.
Briere was in the middle.
You know what the most depressing thing is, but also kind of exciting? We got to wait until September for Flyers training camp. But at least come June, we're going to start to hear rumors about what moves are the Flyers going to make. That'll be fun. All right, what else you got for us?
Man, I love that clip. That did give me goosebumps as well. All right, moving on. JJ Redick's head coach of the Lakers. They got swept. They're done. He had his post-game media availability, and he almost said something that probably would have not gone well so close to Mother's Day, mind you.
Yeah, I care more than, I hate to say this about my family, but I care as much about this as anything. I love my wife and kids, but...
Oh, man, he almost got in trouble.
He almost said, I care more about this than my own family, and he stopped himself.
Yeah, good thing he stopped himself, but I think the cat was already out of the bag, as they say.
Cat was out of the bag. Would Bridget grab you by the ear or something? Would she ream you out for that? If you're like, you know what, this show means so much to me. It's almost, I care about it more than my wife and kids.
Yeah, I think I would get in trouble for that. I mean, Ricky, you had a balance being an athlete and having a family. It's not easy, especially for a coach. I mean, they do have to sacrifice a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot. Oh, yeah, there is a lot of sacrifices. I mean, especially like when I had kids, that was the hardest thing.
Yeah.
Like you're away for, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks at a time, and you're missing them every day. I mean, you have a little girl right now. Now, picture not seeing her for 3 weeks and then coming home.
Going on a road trip.
And then you're going on a road trip, and you get the older one always crying because you're leaving. What are you supposed to do?
You know what always surprised me, too?
It was
It's depressing to hear.
It was grueling.
You know what always surprised me with baseball?
Like when you pay for a tire, so.
Like, I know Reddick is a basketball coach, but with baseball.
I should read that whole thing
no,
online.
You should read that text.
For how kids... it's part of Gimme More 4.
Yes.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. I want to hear this.
This is to my ex-wife and I from this. This is this morning, okay? And this is what happens when your little girls grow up to be big girls and want to ask for something, but they're going to kiss up to it to do it. Dear Mom and Dad, as you know, my car currently has the traction and stability of a shopping cart with one bad wheel. In the interest of public safety, family legacy, and my continued survival, I am humbly asking each one of you to sponsor one tire. Think of it less as buying tires and more as investing in your daughter, not hydroplaning across a parking lot. You can even name your tire if you want. Love, your financially struggling but very grateful daughter.
Is she in sales?
I don't
Because
know.
she might have a good future in sales.
Yeah, you're not saying no to that.
She's got a really good job in speech pathology. This is her way of just asking for money just to help her out.
Very smart.
She makes decent money, too.
Did you respond yet?
Me.
Yeah, she's getting a tire.
That reminds me so much of me. And I would do the same
She's
thing to
going
my
to
dad.
kill me when she finds out I read that on air.
Daddy's little girls. Yeah, make sure we should probably point out which daughter it was to embarrass her even more.
That was Olivia.
Olivia. Hold on, before you move on to the next story, because you were talking about having to leave, your kids when you're a baseball player. What always surprised me about baseball, 162 games, you take away the All-Star break, you get, like 12 days off?
If that. I mean, most of them you might be flying in from California and you get that next day off. You get in at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning.
It's a long season.
So you sleep until noon, and then the weirdest part, though, it's odd you say that because I could still view myself driving around because I was living over near you in Cherry Hill at like 5:30 at night and freaking out on an off day thinking I have to be somewhere. Like literally it got so embedded in your mind that you had to be somewhere at a certain time that you would literally freak yourself out thinking, what if we have a game tonight and I forgot?
Yeah, it's a grind, man.
Yeah, that's insane.
All right, one more story for us?
Yeah, one more. This will be a quick one. So, Orioles player Kobe Mayo, he came out about having some early season struggles, and I want to know what Ricky thinks of this quote that he gave. My dog doesn't know I made an error. He doesn't even know that I struck out 4 straight at bats. My dog loves me, so it doesn't matter. He's always going to be there for me.
You think that's true?
Well, my daughters didn't know if I gave up a home run that night when you come home.
He's talking about a dog.
My dog Sydney didn't know. She was the best. She was awesome.
I love doing
What's
that.
so funny?
Nothing, but
it's very truthful. I mean, if you're looking for some comfort about what you did, yeah, your dog doesn't know. Your dog is, although who knows? Maybe they do know.
I think it's a healthy way of compartmentalizing the feelings right there.
I've never owned a dog. You know that?
Really?
What?
I used to beg my parents for a dog as a kid because I was an only child.
No wonder you're so weird. You could tell these things. You could tell when someone's an only child and when they never had a dog.
Did you hear that? No wonder you're so weird. Did you just hear that from Silvana?
Yeah.
You're definitely out there somewhere.
I mean,
I think I'm the most normal on the show.
That's not true.
Really?
We should do a Twitter poll. Who's the most normal? Actually, people probably vote for Silvana.
Yeah, it'd probably be
Watch
me.
this. Watch this. You ate nuts before this segment, didn't you?
I did. I had my kind bar like I do every day.
Have you noticed this? He's allergic to nuts.
Why? I
Yeah.
didn't do anything. My throat's fine.
Then how could I
Not
tell?
yet.
You sound completely different.
Do I have chocolate somewhere? my kind. I eat it at the same time every day. Everybody knows I had a kind bar at 4:00. Everyone ever listened to the show knows that I've
Now
had.
you're thinking about your speech, too, which is awesome.
Trying to emphasize it.
Listen,
All
he
right.
messes up before the kind bar, after the kind bar. It's all
Yeah,
relative.
that's true, too.
All right, good stuff, Silvana. Let's switch gears and talk some Eagles, though.
Sure.
All right, because
A.J. Brown is going to Boston.
oh yeah, we didn't even weigh in on that.
How is this not like, if he ends up going to Boston, how is there no collusion involved here?
Well, did you see, by the way, I thought Silvana was going to play this earlier. She was talking about,
By the way, I like that.
J.J. Redick's comments about his wife. There was a new picture now
Yes,
of Diana Rossini kissing her husband on
about
Mother's Day. I got to be honest, though, I think they're crossing the line at this point.
Although there are some interesting factors
Who's
about
crossing
that.
the
The
line?
guy had
The
his
media.
They made sure he had his hat backwards. Did you notice this?
No.
Like the husband's hat was backwards, and they're trying to break down the picture, and the wedding ring is definitely.
Oh, you think it
sporting.
was a plant by Rossini?
That's what some people are saying.
Don't usually most guys turn their hats
Look,
backwards though to kiss someone so it does the brim doesn't hit them in the forehead?
I could give two bleeps about this at all. I don't care. They're not in my life.
Oh, come
I'm
on,
not,
it is interesting.
I really don't care what they do.
No, but I thought that
Their own lives.
I thought the media was crossing the line now following her and her husband, but you think maybe they intentionally wanted that picture taken.
Yes.
Interesting.
I can't
I
imagine.
don't know. People online are saying that.
Interesting.
Like I said, I don't care. I'm sorry. I don't care. I know a lot of people are so into this that it's kind of taken over their lives. I don't care. I don't care if she comes out and tells us a story that somebody's going to pay her a lot of money to hear the story. Why?
Yep.
Why?
She's probably
people are-
just going to come out. She has
cares?
an arrangement with her husband or something. You know, they're polyamorous or polygamous or something.
But who cares?
But she is going to get paid a lot of money to tell her story.
She
And
is.
in my opinion, I probably won't listen to it.
You will.
No,
Yeah,
I won't.
You'll have to because we're going to talk about it on the show. Because our listeners want to know.
I understand what you're saying, but do you really care?
Nah, not really. Not really. I don't. What I care about, though, is how it impacts the
what
Eagles.
we need in this world is more that people don't care about a story like that.
But I care, and I think a lot of Eagles fans care because of how it could impact the Eagles
Well, it
and if
doesn't
there
look
was
like it is,
collusion
does it?
involved and all that. Yeah, but
Really, the guy's going to buy a condo right now.
well, if you take our caller's word for it,
It
I saw
wasn't
that.
just the callers. There's a
Yeah.
lot of people
yeah.
reporting.
I mean, it's obvious it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But listen, the reason why it's relevant, and this is people going down the rabbit hole investigating everything that Rossini's ever reported.
Right.
When Mike Vrabel was the head coach of the Titans, Rossini planted a story, allegedly, that Julio Jones, who was on the trade market, was getting first-round draft pick offers for a trade, which wasn't true. And what that did is when other teams hear that, they're out. Oh, we're not going to give up a first-round draft pick. So what it did is it allowed the Titans to be the only suitors for Julio Jones' services. And that's where collusion gets into play. Was she trying to do the same thing for the A.J. Brown trade scenario, trying to help out Vrabel? Because reporters intentionally can leak things that can change someone's value and how many teams are invested. That's why it's relevant. But let's talk about the Eagles. Enough about Diana Rossini. Thursday night, 8 o'clock, NFL schedule release. We know the Eagles are playing on Thanksgiving in Dallas, 4:30 start. We also know, we've known for quite some time, who all of their opponents are, right? So we just don't know the order in which the schedule will fall. But here's their opponents. At home, they play all the NFC East teams like they always do, Cowboys, Giants, Commanders.
Yep.
They play the Rams and the Seahawks at home. The Panthers, the Steelers, the Colts, and the Texans. All of those are home games. On the road, the three NFC East division opponents, they're at Tennessee, at Jacksonville, which could potentially be in London, at Chicago, at San Francisco, at Arizona, right? Named all the teams. Well, let's look at the strength of schedule, because this is a good sign, Ricky. Adam Schefter puts out strength of schedule based off of last year's winning percentage. The Philadelphia Eagles come in based off of last year's winning percentage, and they are, what are they? Where are they on here? in terms of things. They got like the 10th hardest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They are 9th in terms of strength of schedule, right? That means the 9th easiest. But I think when you look at last year's winning percentage, that's a terrible factor to consider because teams have changed. Teams are different. The real one to do is the way Warren Sharp does it from Sharp Football Analysis, is he goes in and he looks at the Vegas projected win totals for this coming season because that factors in all the changes. Like you look at last year's team, who cares about last year's team? All these teams are different. So based off of Vegas's projections for win totals, the Philadelphia Eagles have the 7th easiest schedule in the entire National Football League.
It sounds like a lot of W's.
And here's what makes it even better. There's no team in the NFC East in the top 10 in terms of easiest schedule outside of the Philadelphia Eagles.
How does that happen?
The Cowboys
They play almost the same people.
Dude, the Cowboys have the 4th toughest schedule of anybody in the NFL. The Washington Commanders are in the top 10 hardest schedule.
Can you explain this to me?
And so are the Giants.
Can you explain it to me? They play almost the same teams.
Well, they don't play the same teams because everyone plays a certain division, but then they'll play like.
Yeah, there's like 3 separate teams.
Yeah, you'll play like the first, like for instance, when they play.
So you're basically playing 8 or 9 of the same, maybe 10 of the same, and then the rest are different.
Correct. Like they have Carolina and Pittsburgh, the Eagles do.
Yeah.
Because that's who won the NFC South and the AFC North.
That's a win and a win.
Right? So that's why they have them.
Oh, Carolina might be good this year.
And the same thing with the Chicago Bears, NFC North winners, who the Eagles have to play. But what's crazy is, you look at it, the Cowboys have the 29th easiest, which makes them the 4th hardest. The Commanders, 8th hardest. The Giants, 7th hardest, 8th hardest. So the Cowboys, the Giants, and the Commanders, is this confusing? Are all in the top 10 of hardest?
When I'm trying to think about it, it is a little confusing, but I understand what you're saying.
And the Eagles apparently
I still find it hard to believe that you're in the same division and somebody has the hardest, basically one of the hardest schedules, and another team has one of the easiest. That's very poorly done by the NFL.
I think when this comes out, though, the schedule, I think we're going to be looking at it and predicting that the Eagles have a pretty damn good year. Because all their toughest opponents are home.
13-4.
Look, your toughest opponents.
I just gave you the record.
13-4. But look, your toughest opponents.
Why did he laugh?
The Rams and the Seahawks, you get them at home.
Yep.
Huge advantage than having to go West Coast.
The Rams again.
Aren't
you kind of tired of seeing the Rams?
Again at home. Seahawks at home. The only time you have to go out west, you got the Niners out west. You have the Cardinals out west.
Cardinals suck.
Dude, I'm not going to say it's an easy schedule, but man, to be in the top 7 of easiest schedules in the whole NFL. All right, but here's a big question as we're talking Eagles. A lot of questions. Is Jalen Hurts going to be able to adjust to the Sean Mannion style of offense, right? Troy Aikman, who I think is one of the best in the business, was on Get Up this morning, and he was asked about Jalen Hurts and whether or not Troy Aikman felt like Jalen Hurts could adjust to a Sean Mannion style of offense. Wait until you hear this. Some really good stuff from Troy Aikman. We'll get to that coming up next. And another trivia question for your chance to win a $50 gift card, this time to Capuccio's Meats down at the Italian Market Festival. Capuccio's Meats coming up next. Keep it here, Unfiltered. 97.5 The Fanatic, NBC Sports, Philadelphia. All right, welcome back into Unfiltered. We're going to get back to the Sixers a little bit later. We'll also talk some Phillies as they start. Is it a 3-game set against Boston, Ricky, or 4?
It is 3 up in Boston.
3-game set against Boston. You'll get Ranger versus Luzardo at some point.
That's on Thursday.
Thursday.
We kept saying Wednesday, but it is Thursday.
And I believe Wheeler's on the mound tonight, isn't he?
Wheeler's on the bump tonight.
So we'll get that for you in the 5 o'clock hour. We'll take a look at the lineup. And I want to ask Ricky a question about the Phillies. How good are they? We'll get to that coming up because they've been playing some good ball. But right now I want to talk about the Eagles. We haven't been spending that much time on the Eagles of late because the Flyers and the Sixers have been dominating the conversation. But now that they're eliminated and you got the NFL schedule release on Thursday, spend a little more time talking about the Eagles. Believe it or not, we're like a month and a half away from training camp already. Like, it's not that far away where training camp will be here. And one of the big questions as you get ready for this coming season is, how is Jalen Hurts going to adjust to the Sean Mannion style of offense? And Troy Aikman, who does a great job. I mean, we all hated him when he was a Cowboy, but I think everybody respects him as an analyst. He was on Get Up this morning on ESPN, and they spent a lot of time talking about Jalen Hurts. And for a lot of the conversation, Troy Aikman was talking about how difficult it is to adjust to new coordinators every single year. And Troy was talking about what we all know about how he had different coordinators, not only almost every season of his NFL career, but also every season of his college career, and how hard that is for an NFL quarterback. And Troy Aikman pointed out to the fact that you look at guys like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, pretty much had the same offense every single year without much change. That has not been Jalen Hurts' trajectory. So then they ask him on Get Up, do you believe that Jalen Hurts will be able to adjust to the Sean Mannion style of offense, that Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay type of offense that the Eagles want to run this year? Great answer from Troy Aikman. Listen to this.
And I believe Jalen can do anything that he's asked to do. I go back to early in his career. We had them in the playoff game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It was Jalen's first year as a starter.
I remember the game.
They did not play well in that game offensively. They really struggled, and they needed to be better throwing the football. And the very next year, it was remarkable, the turnaround that we saw from that passing game and from Jalen Hurts. So what that proved to me is that he's a quarterback who puts in the time to do everything he can to be his best. And so whatever he's been challenged with this offseason, I fully expect him to come out and play the kind of football that we're accustomed to seeing him play.
I'm right there with Troy Aikman, man. Like, I do expect Jalen Hurts to have an incredible season. Like, I do think, I know that article that Jeremy Fowler and Tim McManus wrote back in the beginning of April, a lot of fans were frustrated with it and thought it was a hit piece. But what I keep going back to in that article, and it wasn't a hit piece if you've read it, was where Tim McManus quoted a source as saying, Jalen Hurts is the most willing he's ever been to change. Like, this is he's accepted the fact that they need to change this offense. And Aikman's spot on. Like, you go back to 2021, that team that made the playoffs in Jalen Hurts' first year as a starter was a very run-heavy team. Jalen only threw for 3,100 yards that year, and they didn't really have this prolific passing attack. They come out in 2022, and no coincidence, Shane Steichen, back-to-back seasons as offensive coordinator. He goes from 3,100 yards to over 3,700 yards. He goes from being, okay, he's a decent starting quarterback to an MVP caliber quarterback if he doesn't hurt his shoulder in Chicago.
Yeah.
And I'm expecting that sort of leap this year where he's going to put in the work. You know, he's already putting in the work this offseason to be the best version of himself that he could be.
That is expectation, yes. I mean, you know, he's working closely with Sean Mannion right now. There's no doubt about that. And he wants to be the best he could be, you know. And the one thing you have to almost wonder, how badly does he want to stick it in people's faces this year? Think about this for a second. Think about all that's going on right now. Possible A.J. Brown not being here. A lot of those little kind of jabs and things like that. You don't think he wants to go out there and be an MVP type quarterback? Of course he does. Does he have it in him? Yeah, I think he does. But I think he's also going to need that help from a guy number 26 in the backfield too. But quarterback, here's the thing. To me, a quarterback is not a one-person job. It's everybody. It's offensive line. If your offensive line is healthy, he's going to be better. That's check mark number one. If your running game is better, check mark number two. Are you hitting the receivers at the right time? Check mark number three. I think if you keep going through all your progressions and you keep getting a little bit better each week, I think he's going to be very good this year. And we all know that he could study. We all know that he could look at things and say, okay. But you also have to be acceptant. He's got to be able to accept differences this year. That's the one thing that scares me a little bit, but I think he does that and he moves on.
Yeah, look, I'm excited to see this offense. I really am. And
what if there's nothing different?
Well, we thought Now, you say that. We did
happened
think,
with Kellen Moore.
Yeah, we did think Kellen Moore was bringing in a new style of offense, and that didn't really happen. And you were able to lean on the rushing attack with Saquon, and he has a magical year, and the rest is history. You win the Super Bowl. I would be absolutely shocked if you don't see a drastically different offense. Like, everything that we've heard and everything that you've read, the Eagles, and that includes Jalen Hurts, have all had the realization they have to evolve. You saw last year when you didn't evolve as an offense. I mean, you literally had halves of football where you couldn't complete a pass. There's no way they come out with a similar style of offense this year. And to Jalen Hurts' credit on this, and again, going back to Tim McManus and Jeremy Fowler's article, one of the things that was said in that article was that Jalen Hurts in the offseason last year was preparing for a certain style of offense that then in the middle of the season, they were trying to change and do different things. And it was like, yo, I was preparing for this offense, and now you're trying to do all these different things. I think everyone's going to be on the same page going into this offseason, which is this is what we're doing. There's going to be no surprises. We're going to do a lot more of that Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay style. You're going to have more pre-snap motion, more under center plays, more play action, probably 12 and 13 personnel. Everyone's going to be a little bit more close in the formation, the way that McVay likes to do it, so players get lost on the defensive side. I think Mekhi Lemon is going to be a great addition to that slot receiver spot. I'm excited to see what this offense is going to do.
I mean, it can be exciting. We want to see difference. I mean, you want to see a little bit of everything. You want to see some motion. You want to see some running game. You want to see Jalen be able to do things that other quarterbacks do. Be able to go. I'm a big fan of the read options, and I want to see him do more of that because I think that, and I'm going to be perfectly clear on this. I think that was the biggest key to him having big seasons. Is that you never know if he's going to run the football. You never know if he's going to pass. So I guess him being healthy is going to play right into that. And I think that's a big part of what his offensive numbers could look like because, you know what? If you're running the football well, that means you're going to be able to pass the football well.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch, man. I can't wait. I mean, we always are excited.
You want to see him run more?
Jalen? Yes.
A lot more than last year?
Yeah, I do. I think that puts pressure on defenses in a different way than other quarterbacks can't do.
I mean, what I'm talking about, the triple option, if you go and put the ball into Saquon's stomach, you keep it. Now you still have two more options left. You could either run the football around the outside or you're going to pass the football. Don't be they got to get back to that. That's one thing that completely disappeared last year.
Yeah, I don't know if it was Jalen's reluctance last year or if the team had told him not to run as much last year, but he certainly wasn't running as much. But that's a weapon he has that I think you have to take advantage of if you're the Philadelphia Eagles, and I think they will. I think Sean Mannion certainly will. But we'll be doing a lot of Eagles talk throughout the week as we get more leaks from the schedule. So far, the only game we know, Thanksgiving Day, 4:30, Cowboys, Eagles.
Yep.
You happy about that? Football on Thanksgiving for the Birds?
Why not?
Well, some people are frustrated. Like, depending on who's doing pre- and post-game
It'll
for
probably
us.
change where we have to be, though.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You might have to work now.
Oh, well. Life goes
You might
on.
have to work the game. When I used to work for the Eagles, I remember they played the Arizona Cardinals on Thanksgiving night. And I remember not eating my Thanksgiving meal until I got home at like 10:30 at night.
That's your own fault.
You know? I was working for the Eagles. What was I supposed to do? Say, no, I'm not going to go. I'm going to
take it with you.
Well, they did actually have a Thanksgiving meal for everybody at the stadium.
Did you eat at the stadium?
I think I did.
Then stop your complaining.
Yeah, I'm not complaining. You're right. That
it
was actually
this.
It was
Why
actually
are you
pretty
complaining
good.
If you actually had a Thanksgiving meal,
it was actually pretty good. You know, I think I actually hosted here 2 years ago on Thanksgiving, and they
so
had
you didn't eat Thanksgiving dinner.
They had a meal for us in the refrigerator here.
Yeah, what
a
was
Thanksgiving meal? It was like turkey and mashed potatoes and stuffing. It was pretty good.
I think that's a lie.
They did. Wait, Savannah, were you there with me that day?
Who brought you in Thanksgiving dinner?
They had it catered. So the company.
I know what he's referring to.
Yeah, the company had a caterer bring in Thanksgiving meals for all of the people who had to work on Thanksgiving.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Dead serious.
Yeah, I think they do it on Christmas as well.
Yeah.
Why'd you say it was in the freezer?
It was in the refrigerator.
Yeah.
Why?
Refrigerator.
So it doesn't
So it didn't go bad. Because I couldn't eat while I was on the air. Couldn't eat turkey and all that. You know what? It's time. Speaking of food, Let's do another $50 gift card here. So if you missed it, the South 9th Street Market Festival is this Saturday and Sunday. Ricky's been telling you about it a lot. Going to be a ton of stuff down there, food vendors, live music, classic South Philly traditions. But we're giving away today 5 $50 gift cards to a bunch of businesses courtesy of the 9th Street Market Festival. We've already given away $50 to Toludo's. We're giving away $50 to Paisanos already. Now we're going to give away $50 to Capuccio's Meats, all right? And a big thank you to Toludo's, Anthony's, Lorenzo's, and Isgro's. They dropped off a bunch of food. Did you get any of those cannolis from Isgro's?
I did. The cannolis.
Oh, yeah, man. Real good. All right, but here's what we're doing for you to win a $50 gift card to Capuccio's Meats. We're doing Italian-American athletes. I'll give you hints. If you know the athlete, text it to the Davis Honda text line, 610-632-0975. Are you ready, Ricky Bo?
I'm listening.
Here are the clues. I was once the highest scoring American-born player in NHL history. I won a Stanley Cup.
I almost just gave you the answer.
Don't give it away.
That would have been bad.
I won a Stanley Cup. I represented Team USA in multiple Olympics. And I was the face of a Texas hockey team for nearly 2 decades. Who am I? Text the name of that Italian-American athlete, 610-632-0975. Coming up, I'll give you the answer, and we will get back to the 76ers. What can they do this offseason in terms of change? Unfortunately, we'll hear from some national insiders who don't think much. We'll get to that coming up next. Unfiltered, 97.5 The Fanatic, NBC Sports, Philadelphia. All right, welcome back into Unfiltered. We just had another trivia question as we continue to give away $50 gift cards to businesses involved with the South 9th Street Market Festival. We've already given away $50 to Paisanos. We've given away $50 to Toludo's. And now we're giving away $50 to Capuccio's Meats. Here were the trivia hints, Ricky Bo. Go. Again, Italian-American athlete.
Yep.
I was once the highest scoring American-born player in NHL history. I won a Stanley Cup. I've represented Team USA in multiple Olympics, and I was the face of a Texas hockey team for nearly 2 decades. Who am I?
That's Mike Modano.
Mike Modano would be correct. You know what else should have been a hint? I also once recruited Gordon Bombay. Do you remember in Mighty Ducks when he tells Gordon Bombay, this kid used to be awesome? Right? Wasn't Modano in Mighty Ducks? Am I making that up?
Yes. Someone else texted him and was like, you should have said that he was in Mighty Ducks.
Yes, he was in Mighty Ducks. It just hit me. All right, so we have a winner. Gene from Doylestown, congratulations. You got a $50 gift card to Capuccio's Meats. But guess what, Ricky Bo?
I'm listening.
We got another chance coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. 2 chances actually coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. We got a $50 gift card to Ralph's Italian Restaurant.
Nice.
And a $50 gift card to George's. All right, so keep it here. 5 o'clock hour, 2 chances to win 2 more Italian-American athlete trivia questions. All right, let's get back to the Sixers. What should their offseason plan be? I think we all assume that Daryl Morey's probably on his way out. That could be step 1. Nick Nurse could also be on his way out. That could be step 2. But even if you get rid of Morey and Nurse, you still have the issue that your personnel's not good enough. So then the question then we were throwing out to start the show, what move would you make from a personnel perspective? Would you trade Joel Embiid? Would you trade Paul George? We had people suggesting you should trade Tyrese Maxey. Well, before we answer that question, Ricky, let's just hear the NBA insider's perspective on a national level. Tim Bontemps was on Unsportsmanlike. I'm saying his name right? Sometimes I mess people's names up, even though I've said it 100 times. Tim Bontemps, right? Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Help me?
I think so.
Ricky's just staring at me like we're very judgmental way. That's why I thought I was saying it wrong. Matt Menarik's giving me the thumbs up. The way you looked at me, I thought I said his name wrong for a second.
I'm just waiting.
You had him panicking.
Yeah, he got me nervous.
Kind of just waiting for you to move on.
All right, Tim Bontemps was on Unsportsmanlike, the ESPN radio morning show, and he was talking about people who are expecting massive change. You probably shouldn't. Listen to him.
They've got $100+ million in the next 2 years in Paul George and Joel Embiid, and there's just really not a lot to do with that. Do you hope those guys are healthy and available at the end of the season? Do you hope for improvement from VJ Edgecombe, who had a phenomenal rookie year? and from Tyrese Maxey. But there's just really there's not a lot to do. It doesn't make sense to give up a bunch of draft picks to just dump one of those big salaries. They don't have a lot of flexibility to add to the roster. They probably need to re-sign Kelly Oubre and Quentin Grimes this summer. But if they do that, they're going to go into the tax. Are they going to be willing to do that? We'll see. It's just hard to think that a lot is going to change for the Sixers next season or for the next couple seasons.
That's not what Sixers fans want to hear.
That's not what anybody wants to hear around here. A mix-up is almost a necessity right now. Now, you wonder this. We've had the question out there about Daryl Morey today. If they do move on from Daryl Morey, is that good enough for Sixers fans?
I think people will say it's a start.
It's a start.
But if you come back and the new president just says, hey, listen, Embiid's going to be healthy this year. Paul George isn't going to get suspended this year. VJ Edgecombe's going to grow. And we're going to just hopefully re-sign Quentin Grimes and Kelly Oubre. You're not winning anything.
I'm with you there. I think there's got to be some kind of moves made, but we've also come to the reaction that, number one, Paul George is going to be close to impossible to move. And I believe that Joel Embiid is in that same boat. Now, number one, you got to go money for money. So you're talking about $56, $58 million, possibly $60 million for Embiid. How is that even going to become possible? There's a lot of national pundits out there saying it can't happen.
Yeah, that's the problem. Locally, everyone's saying trade Embiid or trade George.
Right.
Nationally, they're saying it's not going to happen.
But like we always say, it takes two to tango. You have to put yourself into the other team's shoes. Like, Bill, if you're the GM of the Sixers and I'm calling you and I'm saying, look, here's what I can do with Embiid. What do you think? And then you're saying, oh, you know what? If we get Embiid, we need this, and this back. And then you know what happens? Bye. Good luck with that.
They say it takes two to tango. Whoever they bring in for Daryl Morey might have to get super creative. It might take three to tango. Maybe you need to do a three-team
but
trade.
You have to get that involved because, as we know right now, the Sixers bench is a big problem.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
We saw that this year. Is there any way you could get three bench players, bring them over, that are decent bench players, and give the other team Embiid? Is that deal somewhere out there?
I don't think that a team is going to want to do that unless you attach draft capital to it. Like, if you're the other team, why would you say, hey, I'm going to give you three
would
quality
you give away
depth pieces?
This year's one?
I would, in a heartbeat, give away this year's one if it meant you can get out from under Embiid. I start to get nervous, though, about giving up next year's one because you don't know how good your team would be if you traded Embiid. You're probably not that good. But then your 2027 draft pick that you hopefully could use to make your team better is going to belong to another team.
What if you make the playoffs again?
Do you think they make the playoffs if they trade Joel this year and don't get anything back? It's just a salary
if you
dump.
get salary dump, which means you get the three bench players like I was talking.
You get expiring contracts.
Yeah, they will. If everybody were to stay healthy, yes, they will. Why do I say that? Think about not this past year, the year before, when they don't make the playoffs. You do know with like 10 days left in the season, they still had a chance to get in the playoffs.
So are you keeping Paul George in this scenario?
You have to.
All right, because now you might be able to convince me. You give up your 2027 draft pick along with Joel Embiid. You get expiring contracts. You keep Paul George, Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe. You re-sign Kelly Oubre. You add some bench pieces, as Ricky's indicating. You're an average team that probably makes the postseason, loses in the first or second round. But the beautiful part of that is, come 2027, you don't have Joel Embiid's contract anymore. You're in the last year of Paul George's contract, and the players you acquired were on expiring contracts. So now, whoever the new president is can really get creative next offseason. I think I'm doing that.
Well, whoever the new person is going to want to make his mark, right? How do you make your mark? You got to trade something.
Yeah, you got to do something.
You're worried it's going to be Maxey.
Well, now I didn't think that was even a possibility, but that's what people keep suggesting. Because the question we threw out on the Twitter poll didn't include Maxey. It was, if you could only trade one, George or Embiid, who are you trading?
See, the only reason I brought that up to you is because I looked at it this way. I wanted to know from you, because you have to get facts straight first, right? And if you're in my posse as a GM, I would ask you, you think this team as constructed right now has a chance to win anything? Your answer would be
no.
In the next 3 years with Embiid.
No, they can't.
Right. So what would that tell you? Okay, we have to do something. Whether if we can't get rid of Embiid and or George, then what? What do we do? Who do we turn to? Who's the next person up?
You're going to get the most back for Max.
Yes.
All right, so you can weigh in on that. Would you consider trading Maxey? But the Twitter poll that we threw out was if you could only trade Embiid or George, which one of them would you trade? And the Twitter poll been standing strong for over 3 hours now, thanks to Dr. Avi Donapel of Iron Mountain Men's Health. Let's get a quick update, Sil.
If the Sixers could only trade one player this offseason, who should it be? Joel Embiid or Paul George? 51% voted for Joel Embiid, 49% for Paul George.
Man, I love when we have a Twitter poll that's that close.
You love when, especially the comeback kid now. Paul George is the comeback kid right now.
If it was up to me, I'm keeping Paul George and trading Joel. I mean, ideally, I'd like to trade them both, but that's probably not a realistic scenario. So I'm trading Joel, keep Paul George. He's got one less year on his contract, and I actually think he could contribute if you build this team a little bit differently. All right, but here's what I want to do coming up. We'll get back to the Sixers because we have We Hear You coming up at 5:25. A lot of people weighed in with voice messages today on what they would do with the Sixers. You still can as well, 610-632-0975. But coming up next, Ricky, I want to talk about the Phillies because they start a 3-game set in Boston against the Red Sox tonight. We'll take a look at what the lineup is, but I have a simple question for Ricky Bo. How good is this Phillies team? We're now a little over a quarter of the way through. They fired their manager. Looks like things are turning around. How good are they? We'll answer that for you coming up, and another trivia question for a $50 gift card, this time to Ralph's Italian Restaurant. So keep it here. Unfiltered continues. 97.5 The Fanatic, NBC Sports, Philadelphia.